Hi, Mandy.
Hi.
Hi. I'm so excited to get to ask you some questions today about your process. Thank you so much for wanting to share.
I'm thrilled to share. It's my pleasure.
Awesome. So let's just jump right in. You just went through your breakthrough day in March, which is a couple months ago. And I'm just curious if you can share with me a little why you came to me initially, what the process was like, and what's happening for you now.
Yeah, so I came to Canada because I was having uh, really intense struggle and turmoil in my love life in particular. And I just felt like I kept attracting the same guys and the same relationships over and over again. And it was just really getting to the point of tremendous frustration and heartache. And so instead of my love life being a source of happiness, which is what I believe it should be, it ended up being something that was like distracting me from work. It brought, down my energy levels and just overall started to like really make me doubt myself and doubt my self-worth. And I think it's really important to take responsibility for what's happening to your life, but it felt like, oh my god, is this maybe my fault? Like I need to do something here. um, so yeah, it was pretty pervasive in all areas of my life, even though it was just my love life. It's something I totally care about, um, and was just not getting the attraction that I wanted.
Great, great. So I remember also you had tried a few other things. Would you like to share, like, what kind of other things had you done? Because I mean, you're not a person who sits on your ass and
Oh,
and
totally.
expects change to come along easily.
Well, I definitely like did the traditional route of like therapy. I probably have been like in and out of therapy for the last 10 years. I'm, by no means crazy or have any serious emotional issues, but I think therapy can be so helpful to help us get what we want. So kind of like a life coaching approach. So I had been seeing someone for about 6 months, and I just feel like I wasn't it was nice to release and get a little bit of coaching, but I didn't feel like there was any like tangible results from like, 6 months of therapy in the Bay Area. And so, I'd done that. I had done classes. I had, read books. I like doing the work. I'm definitely that type of person, but I still, despite being someone I self-describe as very versed in personal development and, journaling and meditation, all that good stuff, I still feel like I was far from where I wanted to be. So I was really excited when I met Karina and started to learn more about NLP, and I was just blown away. And just even the concept of NLP and starting to look at my beliefs, my limiting beliefs, and behavioral patterns was so much more insightful than the 6 months of therapy. I even brought it to a therapy session. It's like, let's talk about beliefs. It was pretty funny. So yeah, that's
Very cool. Thanks. And when you started the process, so you finally reached out and you said, "Hey, I think it's time now," because we'd been talking off and on when you'd been in therapy and tried some courses and read some books and stuff like that. So when you decided to jump in, how was getting ready for the process, for example? How was that for you?
the getting ready was fun. I enjoyed it. What's amazing about your approach is that it's not just a day that you're with. You like really like guide people through a whole process before and after. There, you're very present and engaged, which I think is phenomenal. I think some practitioners could just like have a breakthrough day with someone and maybe not be as hands-on, but you definitely really obviously care about your clients. And so I really enjoyed, Karina had a private Facebook group, and we had a 20 day challenge, 21 day challenge.
21-day challenge,
And
yeah.
and so there was a community of about 8 of us on Facebook, posting every day, and that was really cool to read other people's journeys, and other people were focusing on different things in their lives, but it was still really cool to be part of that community and encourage one another. And I, again, tend to be really good with, like, kind of exercise and eating and everything like that. So I didn't need that coaching as much, but I think a lot of people do, and that's another like Karenna used to be a personal trainer for years. And so, you get a lot of that background, and, it's way more than that one area of your life that gets affected. It's like a complete transformation, and like the baseline is what I call it. So like the sleeping, the eating, the exercise, everything gets touched upon, and you need that stability and that foundation in order to like make great change and keep great change in your life. So it's really amazing that that's something you go over. So I loved the prep. I found it pretty easy for me because I was doing a lot of it, but I still really enjoyed it. I will say though, like coming up to the breakthrough, I would consider myself a pretty courageous person, but I was like nervous. I was pretty. I was scared. I didn't know what to expect, and I think there's a part of us that's like really comfortable doing whatever we're doing.
Yeah.
And that little part of me was like, no, oh my God, this is scary. What's gonna happen?
Yeah. So let's talk about what happened then. Okay. So, you came to my office in Berkeley, and we spent the entire day together. And, I think our breakthrough day lasted 10 hours or so, 9 or 10 hours or so. And for, some of it was really intense. Other parts of it was pretty straightforward. But when you left and when you'd gone through that entire day, what was like the biggest thing that you noticed had changed for you?
I just felt a lot lighter, and you do a lot of work about the way you associate with your past, the way you think about your past, and so it's pretty interesting. I would try to flip to past memories of past boyfriends or family stuff, and just the way that those memories were accessed, they were totally different. I just felt really like I felt like a Zen master a little bit. It was like, oh, I just feel really neutral and at peace, and it's really amazing to feel that light with things that had previously felt really heavy. So that was pretty cool. Admittedly, after those 10 hours, you feel really tired and you go right to bed. But it was, the weeks following have been really great. But I'm sure we'll talk about that.
Yeah, absolutely. Because so that lightness that you're talking about, it allowed you, this Zen master. I really like that actually, because then you're able,
feel like
yeah.
a Zen master. Like there's no other way to describe it. You're like, wow, I just am so tranquil, and
Yes.
it's like your soul got realigned, or like a little bit of spring cleaning went on, or a lot of spring cleaning.
Yeah.
So
And yeah, very cool. I love that. That's pretty much what we hear across the board from everyone, is that they're able to think about anything and just feel totally at peace with it. So share with me, because right after, you started a new job and everything. Tell me, what were you able to do with this new lightness?
yeah, so it was really interesting. As one thing that is an amazing credit to you, Karenna, is you do a good job of setting expectation. And so like one thing that you told me about was like, it's going to take, you're realigning over the next course of the few months. And so there's weeks where I'm like, oh, did I like go through the breakthrough? And then I'd have this next, because I was so caught up in this new job. And then I'd have the next week, and you could just, every so often I would like check back in, and journal and stuff. And then I would notice things in my life, and I'm like, oh, this is really different than it used to be. Like the way that I would think about relationships, the way I felt, just the way I went through my life was just totally over time more and more different. And it was really nice to see that long-standing development. But there were moments definitely where you don't know until you're put into a situation that you used to do.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was kind of cool, of kind of like, oh, I don't know. And then the same kind of person comes into your life and how you act differently. And it just like is more innate, and it's really amazing. It felt like effortless change a little bit. Like, of course, we did a lot of prep work, but then once that happened, it didn't feel conflictual. It was like a great example, in the past, I had a tendency to like fall in love with people in a way that I ignored all red flags. And so it was pretty astonishing to, like a Zen master, just like approach all these new potential relationships with a way more objective stance. And so I could see the red flags red and clear, and I wasn't trying to like ignore them like I used to. They were just like really obvious, and it was really easy to be objective. So that was pretty amazing. And just feeling when a certain area of your life causes a lot of stress, when that stress is removed and you feel empowered and you feel at peace, then that percolates into all the other areas of your life. So I felt like more empowered at work, more clarity in my future, career trajectory. And so I, just yesterday, like drew out a complete like 5-year map where I like worked backwards of exactly what I need to do to get to where I want to be in 5 years.
Wow.
And in the past I would do that, but I don't know that I believed that I would get there. And I definitely feel like I'm going to get there now. And that's just because I feel so much more at peace than I ever did. I feel more aligned. And it's really, yeah, like I think the Zen master like is just like the perfect avatar for
Yeah.
this. It's like that's literally how you feel. You just feel aligned, you feel at peace, and you're like, oh, I can do that.
Yeah.
Oh no, that relationship doesn't serve me. Oh yeah, I'm more clear in this area. So I know, in stories you've told me about past clients, some people have like really dramatic, crazy, intense things. I feel like mine's been more subtle, but in like the most amazing way, where just, again, I get these situations and I'm like, oh, the way I feel about this map and the way I've been able to do it is like so much better than I ever have been. And it's amazing. It's just like such a beautiful gift.
Wow.
That's my rant.
That's your beautiful rant. That's awesome. A lot of people expect that or think that they need to have kind of like a kaboom breakthrough in order to get any results. But you're a great example of how just gaining clarity and gaining a position of not having this huge, intense emotional response can really take you far and allow you to make better decisions and to relate to people differently. And that in turn will help you make better choices in many areas of your life. So I'm really excited about that. And you're also coming up on some new changes again. And just from our conversation today, I'm just really impressed at how level-headed you are. So I see you going really far with all of this. So thank you so much. I just have a couple of questions so that people who are watching can, help them make a decision. So first of all, what type of person do you feel is a good candidate to go through a process that you just went through?
Well, I'll say two things. So I will say that one thing that's really invaluable is, the process is great. There's other NLP practitioners out there that are great, but like you are just so phenomenal. I mean, I remember the first time I met you, I was just like blown away. Like, who is this woman? Like,
Oh.
I'm being completely genuine and honest. Like, I would say that if I didn't believe it.
Thank you.
You're not putting it up to me. I'm just making you blush.
Yeah.
But yeah, and so it's that personal relationship or that professional relationship, whatever you want to call it, because it's a very intimate thing that you're doing. So to me, it feels very personal.
Yeah, for sure.
Professional is the process is led by you and curated by you, and the way that you're able to do it and listen and everything just is out of this world, So I would say my thoughts about the perfect candidate is, someone that, feels the same way about you that I do. And I'm sure most people who meet you feel the same exact way, in that you have an uncanny ability to listen and to to hear things that people without your years and years of experience like wouldn't be able to hear.
Wow, thank you.
And yeah, it's um, that's really amazing. And so the right kind of person to go through this process is, I mean, anyone who feels like they're a little bit stuck, you know, or a lot
Or a
stuck,
lot stuck, I would
right?
think.
A lot stuck. And in particular areas of their life, you know, like I enjoyed this process so much that I'm like, oh, maybe I need to do this relative to my career too, you know?
Well, there
And
are 6 areas that you
absolutely
can address.
sign me up for all of them. And so that's, I mean, if you just keep seeing the same patterns in a particular area, or you feel like you're holding back, or what I think is so amazing about NLP and NLP breakthroughs is who you want to be and who you are being, there's often a disconnect. And that's so unfortunate. And most people live their lives disconnected from who they think, you know, who they want to be and who their soul and their heart and their mind, who they like feel they are. That's not usually who ends up um, showing up in the world. And
Right.
that's for so many reasons, but a lot of it's like we have stuff we have to work on.
Yeah.
And just, you know, bad habits, bad beliefs, like things that just aren't aligned. We have all of us are prone to have conflictual ideas about ourselves or the world. And to go in there and like clean out the clutter and align everything, that's what's giving me this like peace of mind to be able to be really clear of what I want and feel like I can do it and not sabotage myself.
Right.
And so I think most people are a great candidate for this. Like any, you know, if you're feeling like you're just not getting there in your career, or money is continually an issue, or just things are just, you want a different result and you know you're gonna you can have a different result, but you're just not getting there
Yeah.
on your own. Like we all need help. Like we're social beings. Like we're not self-sustaining creatures that need no input from the outside environment. Like we need help to get to where we are. Like you look at the top executives, and all of those people have mentors and people that help them along the way, and a lot of them have business coaches. Like you don't, or my previous career was in fitness, and being a high level athlete, you only become great when you have someone there to push you and to help you and to guide you and to coach you and tell you what you're not doing right. And I'm so thankful I had that background, because now I yearn, you know, I seek experiences that like this that maybe kind of feel uncomfortable and scary, but you know that you're just going to come out on the other side in just, how do you put a price tag on that? You know,
Yeah.
you're come out like more aligned to be the person that you want to be.
Wow.
And
Thanks.
yeah,
Yeah,
no,
that's a great way of saying it. And we talked about, the therapy and books and taking action on those areas. But would you say that in comparison to those things, that results come much faster with this type of process?
absolutely. And I remember us having this very conversation where I'm like, well, you know, because I too am considering in my own professional career of like being a therapist or being an NLP practitioner, because I just am so blown away by how impactful it is. And I was talking to you, I was like, so how would you compare like conventional therapy and NLP? I'm like, well, they're both good, but one is like a rocket ship, like to your destination, and you're gonna get there. And the other, like conventional therapy, someone who's been in it for like 10 years, is the scenic route, and you may spend 10 years in therapy and never get to your destination, you know. And I really felt a lot of truth in that, like the amount of time and money that I've spent in like a therapist office trying to work on this stuff, I just didn't feel like I was getting the same results, or
Yeah.
like the results that I thought were possible, if that makes any sense.
Yes, absolutely. Very cool. Thanks. So, any parting tips to anyone who's on the fence about doing this VIP breakthrough process? What would you advise them?
Yeah, I would advise them to just have you know, a call with you, just talk to you and, you know, be open and vulnerable to like what is bothering you and let Karenina like dig in with you. And I think that'll be really eye opening and just a 30-minute conversation or hour conversation, how much you can be woken up. And
Yeah.
it's pretty insightful, you know, to where I was like, oh my God, I want to talk to you all the time about this stuff. Like, it's so helpful. And yeah, that would be my parting tip. And then my other thing, and I'm such a proponent of this, like I tell pretty much everyone in my life that I see that I do therapy and stuff, because there's such a stigma, like, oh, self-help, like, oh, you know, going to a therapist, or even it's sometimes shameful to like leave the office and go take care of yourself and go to the gym. And I just think that's so crazy. If you don't have yourself aligned and if you're not at your best, then you can't give your best to the world.
Right.
And this whole like badge of honor by giving your entire your health, your body, you know, your mental health to everyone else except for yourself is just crazy to me. So, you know, I challenge people to that same thing. If you are your number one asset, and if you don't take care of you, then you cannot be the best to everyone else in your life.
Awesome.
It's that simple. And so that's my big parting tip. It's like, you are worth it. You know, you are worth it. And there should be no shame or concern. Like, people have no problem like spending, you know, a few $1,000s on stuff, right? On a car, on on a new stereo system, on you know, a wedding, whatever it is. Like,
Yeah.
we don't have any issue buying things or giving our money to other people, but we don't often like pay ourselves.
Invest in ourselves,
And
right?
that's just so crazy. We spend all of our time working, and we are worth, like, we've earned the money, and we should be investing in ourselves. Like, we're, yeah, again, our number one asset. So that's
awesome.
My
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing all of that. Really appreciate it. And I can't wait to see where you're going and where you're headed. And to be a part of that journey too.
Yeah.
So well, enjoy the rest of your stay in Hawaii. And
thank you. It's really good to be back here.
Awesome. And we will chat soon. Thank you so much.